Morning guys, how's it going? Still bright and early. But anyway, look. I don't know if you can see it. I have like vapor clouds coming out of my mouth and it's supposed to be spring. It's still really cold though. Anyway, so I was reading up on someone who said that basically but there, you know, they're the whole strong sub and all that sort of stuff, and that I'll have to excuse the black, grey and pink colours. That, you know, they've gotten into kink, that they're pretty much switchy. They've had some people say, if you were more submissive, then I would be more dominant, or I would dom you. And that they've come across articles that say basically a lot of subs are actually people that just don't want to adult. And how difficult was it to find a self-confident male dominant? Depends on where you're looking. Depends on what you're presenting. Depends on what you're after. A lot of it depends on a lot of things, and I would say that a lot of subs do have that whole I don't want to accept responsibility, I don't want to adult thing. Now it can be fine in short-term circumstances, or in some things, as long as the dom also agrees. Now there was a lot of replies and people saying, you know, subs have all the power, and I'm like, dude, really? I say, well, you know, they can walk away at any time. And I said, well, so can the doms. Conversely, why is it so different that when people say things like the subs have all the power, that then the subs also refuse to take responsibility for what goes wrong in a relationship, you know, other than play the victim? I mean, after all, if Trump did something wrong in his position of power, you'd be like all over it, like, oh, you should accept responsibility. If you want a lot of the power that goes into a relationship, you've also got to accept the responsibility for the things that you do, or the lack of things that you do or are aware of, or that you communicate, for things that could go wrong in a relationship. You can't have subs of all the power, but if anything goes wrong, it's all the dom's fault. It's like, well, if they don't have any of the power, they cannot influence any of the relationship whatsoever. So then, whose fault is it that the relationship went wrong? I mean, really, people say I'm victim blaming, but it's all about, well, this is about my point of view, I guess, is that to have a relationship like that means that you've also got to accept responsibility for your part in the relationships, which means that's that whole power exchange that's going on. Now, as far as finding doms that are self-confident and how hard it is, I would say it depends on what you're looking for, what you really want, how you're looking for it, where you're looking for it. Now, if you're after a really good, long, stable relationship, you probably wouldn't want to go on Red Hot Pie or Tinder, because they're pretty much mostly for hookups. Don't get me wrong, there's been a lot of people that have reached, you know, really good relationships and all that sort of stuff, but if it's not what you want, why go looking for it in that area? I don't know. So if you want to have a strong, confident man who's also dominant, then you've also got to realise that you're going to have to do a bit of give and take as well. You can't have a strong, confident man who, well, doesn't have issues. Just like you can't have a strong, confident woman that doesn't have issues, because they've had to go through life, and in order to be that strong, confident person, they have had to go through a lot of crap. Like, seriously, they would have had to go through a lot of crap. Which means, you know, they might have issues, and a lot of people do. And I'm an S-type. I'm strong and confident as far as a lot of people go, and a lot of people would have said, you don't seem like an S-type, you don't seem like a slave, you don't seem like property. Why is that? Is that the stereotypes that people put across? I don't know. What people think of, and the things that they put in their head, the images that they have in their mind, don't always come up to the practical sort of outlets, or convert properly over into reality. Now, fantasies are good. It's what helps us get inspired, and I love thinking up of things to do and interesting concepts and designs. I spend a lot of my actual normal working day thinking about those things, but I also know that I still need to keep my head on for the day-to-day job. As much as I would like to be totally immersed in rubber all the time and designing things for people and just making people look absolutely shiny, there are things that, you have to put on I put on my big rubber pants. That's a bit wrong. But, put on your adult pants and go, right, there's things I have to take care of before I can indulge or go into the things that I would really like to do. So, now, in order to find the people that you want to hang around with, bloody birds, you probably need to just think about the things that you do like, that you don't like, what it means to you. Get into the finer details. Don't just go trust, and not lying to me, because, as I've said before, you can trust somebody with your life, but you cannot trust them to, make a good cup of coffee. Or the little white lies, do they matter? Or if they've really forgotten something and they haven't told you, and you go, oh, you lied to me and they didn't really mean to, or it was lied by omission. So many different shades of that. Think about the things that really matter to you, and in what ways. Think of the scenarios. Think of how you would be, how you would want to be, how you want that relationship to be, and probably not look so hard for it. There's a lot of people who've found relationships that haven't looked hard for it, and they've been the longer-lasting relationships. Conversely, though, there are people who have deliberately looked for some things too, and Lewis, yeah, I know. Exactly. Looking for people who care about you for who you are, not what you are, is a big thing, particularly in the kink world. A lot of people get tied up with labels and images and the whole, 50 Shades of Grey labels and that, and they're not really looking deep down into the people. I did that when I first went into it, and then I went, here are the rules that I have for having a good time. And I know there's quite a few people who've exercised those rules. There's no sexual contact. Sensual and sexual, but no sex sort of thing. And they've put like time limits saying, okay, 3 months, 6 months, whatever, before you reach this sort of level. If they can't really take that level, I don't know. It does help weed out a few people. And you do have to have your standards, Lewis. Don't always rush into it. Just sort of take things as they are. When people say things, just take them as they are. Too many people like to use innuendo, passive aggressiveness, and all that sort of other stuff. Getting used to communicating up front and on the level with people is very hard. Because when you do that in your relationships and then you go to the outside with people, you do have to be careful about what you say sometimes. But when you reach that point, and when you reach the point where you can trust what that person says, and you actually upfront say, when you said this, did you mean X, Y, Z? When someone says something and you immediately take offense, take a deep breath, take a step back and go, okay, so you said this, X, Y, Z, yep. Did you mean A, B, C? If they go, no, I meant, L, M, N. And they go, okay, this back and forth is, part of getting to know you, getting to know them, the thought processes, where they're at with particular issues, and it'll be different every time. So, if it seems tedious, then that's just life, and maybe you're not ready for a relationship with that particular person, particularly not on that level. So, anyway, on people saying, I would dom you if you're more submissive, it depends on their total idea of what is submissive or not. Depends on also the sub's idea of what is dominant or not. What particular style, for how long. You might only want it for a session, you might want it for a whole dynamic relationship 24/7, Think about those things. Some people might only be good for a session-based doming, and some might be good for life. I mean, you have those friends even. You have friends that you would go to with concerts and stuff. But they're only good for the concert. You would like go with them, hang out with them for the concerts. But then there's the people that you would go to and go, dude, I've got a problem with my partner. I've got a problem at work. I've got a problem that I don't know what to deal with. And you just, and they're also people you go to. Not one's not better than the other. They both serve to fulfill your life and make it whole. You know. Anyway, I best be getting going. I've got things to do. The cat's scuttering and skittering around, and my tea to finish. So think about that. The whole, what you classify is dom and sub behavior. Not sort of the principles, but the guidelines, the things that you want. How you would look for them, if you really want to look for them, or whether you're just content to wait and have your standards. You know, don't forget to revise your standards. Okay, have standards, but don't make them too unrealistic. Okay, because remember, they're also testing you out. You're not the only ones testing them out. They're also testing you out. Okay. Anyway, Lewis, hope you have a good time and chillax. And mate, yeah, flashbacks, I understand that totally. And you will find somebody. Trust me. There's been plenty of people I've met who goes, no, I won't find anybody. It'll happen, and it will be totally unexpected. Totally unexpected. You might even go, my God, how did I not even figure that out? Don't worry, it'll be something that you can tell people about how you guys met and when you realized it, okay? Love you guys. See ya.